If AI lives up to its potential, then mark my words, President Xi Jinping will go down in the history books as one of the greatest leaders to have ever walked the face of this earth. Hi, and welcome to Rubin Tech, where once again we meet at the intersection of tech, politics, and finance. Please be sure to like and subscribe down below. And today we're talking about the announcement that President Xi made at the WAIC conference in Shanghai a few days ago. And why I think that this event could be as significant as Rameses II creating the world's first ever peace treaty with the Hittites some 3,000 or 4,000 years ago in history. I mean, we're talking about a literal, does not matter where you live in the world, historical event. And that is not an exaggeration. As I've been telling you for a long time now, China has been democratizing access to AI. They have not been hiding this. Due to what happened to them in 2017, where the US tried to inhibit their ambitions by locking them out of what you may call the prevalent, let's just say with quotes, I can't use quotes because my arm is in a sling, world order, China decided never again. They decided we are going to build a second order in this world, one to compete with the first, not in a sense of dog-eat-dog competition, but in that the world is big enough for competing standards. And we are going to do such by, instead of bombing, threatening, sanctioning, extorting, and threatening everybody, we're going to do it through peaceful win-win negotiation. And the other day on the stage in Shanghai was the culmination of all these efforts. Note that President Xi did not have to attend. They could have carried out their plans subvertly, quietly, without drawing global attention. But he did not. He went on stage and made history. He boldly announced their plan, which is to look at the part of the world that the West has basically forgotten. Some would even say subjugated and terrorized the global South, and say, we are going to offer you equal and a democratized access to what will perhaps be the greatest technology, the greatest innovation that has ever happened in human history. China is going to pave that path. We are going to create an alternate system that you can be a part of, and where there are no threats, there are no sanctions, there are no plucking your leaders out of their bed at nighttime. And again, this is historic. This is the majority of the world's population. This is the majority of humanity, the vast majority. And so this is why I keep harping on you guys. When I tell you China does not give a hoot about Nvidia, and I have China AI fanboys like, yes, they do. That's all they care about. They want to destroy Nvidia. They want to destroy OpenAI. You know how many times the words Nvidia, OpenAI, Anthropic came out of President Xi's mouth? I'm going to give you a big guess here. Less than one. Yes, none. Zero. He does not care about your baby games. The man is on to something bigger and better and bolder. I don't know why you people can't see this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to yell at you again. This is me talking to the comments. I told somebody I want to talk to the comments anymore in my videos. Okay, I'm done. President Xi's vision is something grander. And you know what? As an American, it's disappointing to me that my country isn't the one leading the path forward on this. That at a time where this man has the courage to go out and buck the normal global order of the West, the dominant global order of the West, dominant in terms of money, dominant in terms of war, he goes out and bucks that system. While he's doing that, allegedly, my president is talking to people how they can legalize selling insider trading information. Early access to his Truth Social platform, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you're a MAGA, you might say, you don't know that. What other reason would there be to get his truths 1 or 2 minutes earlier and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars? Okay, but I will say allegedly, because I don't know. Maybe there is some legitimate reason. Maybe you love Trump so much you just want to give him hundreds of thousands of dollars to hear him 120 seconds earlier. It's not the fact that we know that his words alter markets. No, it's because you love him. But regardless, that's what they're concerned about. Do you see the difference? One leader allegedly sets up crypto scam coins and allegedly sells pardons through these crypto scam coins. One leader allegedly sells made in America phones that aren't made in America and takes 14 months to deliver a couple $100 phones for $500. It seems that one leader allegedly only seems to be concerned with enriching himself, allegedly. I'm saying allegedly. I don't have proof for this. You can go out and decide. But while I don't have proof of these claims, what we do have proof of is that the other leader went on stage in a world where nobody cares about the global majority, at least in the West, and announced that they're going to be sharing some of their best systems with these people and democratizing access and sharing these standards, and that these countries can partake in these open standards. And I don't want you to think for one instance, some of you might be like, well, China has reasons to do this. Of course they do. In 2017, China was kicked out of the global cash and war machine majority order through economic sanctions against their technology, trying to limit the Chinese people. And they realized they never wanted to have that happen to them again. And in order to avoid that, you can't do it all alone. Some things must be in cooperation with others. But that's all right with the Chinese, because President Xi has always had his 3 principles of dealing with others, which are, as long as we have mutual respect for each other as human beings and individuals, as long as we work on win-win cooperation, and as long as you respect our sovereignty, we're going to respect yours, then we will do business together. And I find it so ironic that's coming. Sorry, it's not ironic that it comes from the East. They have that mindset too, the golden rule. But I find it like, you got to understand, I live in America. So I grow up thinking these are American values for some reason. I don't know. Now I realize they're not. Jesus did teach it. So there is a bit of irony in seeing our leaders do everything that allegedly appears to benefit only themselves, while both sides of my government, probably 99% of politicians, would say that the enemy is the one that's actually living out the golden rule in their relationships with neighboring countries. And that I find ironic. And real quick, I want to talk about that. Real quick. There's no benefit to me saying this. This isn't me being a martyr. I don't talk about politics because there is no benefit. What I'm telling you right now, I don't talk about this with people. Why would I? The majority of people I know are this, that, libertarian, blah, blah, blah. And that means that whatever they are in America, that makes them anti-China, basically. Not like they hate China or they won't visit China. But that the Chinese government's bad because they do things that, you know, I don't know what they do. They do things that are made up by the US government. You know? But for whatever reason, they're bad. And so, you know, I can't say this to somebody on the right or the left. I can't say this to, you know, there's only a few people I could have this conversation with. So there's no benefit to me saying this. You might say, oh, you're a YouTuber with 12,000 people. But yeah, but what benefit do I have? None. YouTube doesn't like this type of content. They're not going to promote this. My channel's already, they've basically killed it. You know, even though I've tried to stop talking about politics, they've kept me in the doghouse. There's no benefit. And it is uneasy a little bit. Like, in the way I know, like, no one will come after me. I'm a nobody. But at the same time, it's like, who knows? Maybe they start cracking down on nobodies. You know? And the other thing I want to make crystal clear. I do love my country. I love America. I wish that we could be the ones leading with China, hand in hand, in these types of initiatives. I wish on that stage that Xi didn't have to say what he had to say about export controls and such things being laid out by alternative systems. I wish he could have said, hey, we're making a competing system just because having multiple systems is good competition. And we'll work with our competitors and we'll share innovation between us. And their systems are available to you too. I wish it would be like that. Okay? Because I love my country. I love where I'm at. I don't love our current government. I don't think what they're doing is right.